The video you're about to watch has no redstone dust, no redstone torches, no redstone blocks, no redstone repeaters, and no redstone comparators, because in this video we're going to be using the brand new redstone component introduced in this week's snapshot, the wind charge. Now you may be asking yourself, Crafty, how the hell is the wind charge a redstone component? Most of you probably know it for its movement-based properties. For example, I can scale up this mountain just using a few breeze balls, and there you go, I can get to the top. And since they're a projectile, you can also fire them from dispensers, so you can basically make a bunch of different player cannons like this. So I've kind of made this little obstacle course, so we're gonna try and run through it without failing, surely. So first, we hop on this platform. As you can see, you also take no fall damage when you use the wind charge. So now we're gonna try aim for that platform. There we go. Come on, get it, land on it. And then we get our button and our other wind charge, even though I already have one. You can also clutch with these if you time it right, so I hope I do this first try because I'm not very good at it. And which means, of course, we're gonna get it second try, surely. There you go. We can clutch with the wind charges, so I'm gonna try and get in there. Come on. There we go. We place our button. Ignore that one piece of redstone dust. And finally, we launch ourselves to the final platform. All the way up to the gold over here. So this is just a small taste of what you can do movement-based, so you can probably make way more elaborate courses using these wind charges. But another thing you may not know about them is that they can actually interact with all of these different blocks right here. So if I throw a wind charge at all of these, as you can see, the fence gate opens, the lever gets flicked, trapdoor can also open, button gets pushed, also doors can open, bells can get rung, and also candles can actually get extinguished. So if I light this again, you can see that they're lit, and then you can turn them off like this. And the activation range for this is roughly 2 blocks away in a circle like this. It's a little bit random because it's a projectile and has a little bit of random motion. But yeah, 2 block radius is roughly the activation range. So one of the first things I tried was making a screen that you can also draw on. So as you can see, all you have to do is just kind of fire the balls roughly where you want to paint. And look, you can make a smiley face just like that. And you can also erase it if you kind of do it. Again, it's not the most consistent, and that is the problem with a lot of these very small drawable screens. They can't really be reset too easily. Of course, until now. Because if you happen to use trapdoors instead of copper bulbs with buttons on top of them, you can both draw on the trapdoors like this. So again, let's make a really derpy looking smiley face that looks like it's on a snowman. But you can also reset the screen right over there. As you can see, all the trapdoors get pulsed and the screen gets wiped. And the redstone back here is so simple. It's literally just a wall with some trapdoors with just a bunch of observer spam that activates all the trapdoors, and it's just powered by this other trapdoor, which you can also shoot one of these wind charges at. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know how much the name wind charge is gonna stick. I think breeze ball is a way better name for it. I mean, we already have the blaze rod, so it kind of makes sense to have the breeze balls. Wait a minute. Moving away from questionable jokes, you can also make piston doors using these. So as you can see, if you throw the wind charge, I'm going to be calling them breeze balls for the rest of this video. As you can see, you can activate 2 levers at the same time. Now, that is if you put it in the middle. If you do it even slightly off to one side, it's not going to be the most consistent. You have to make sure you hit it dead on in the center for it to work consistently, which is why you can automate the process even more by dispensing the breeze balls from dispensers. So here we have a very basic 3x3 door with a hole in the middle that gets activated by this kind of increasing cone shape of dispensers. So as you can see in the very front layer, we have all of our levers that activate all of these pistons, and then they get powered by these dispensers with these breeze balls, and then you kind of make these as close together as you can so all of these buttons are nice and close, so then you can have another pair of dispensers activate these buttons. So then you just kind of get a chain reaction, and you get a very basic piston door. But obviously only using single piston extenders is pretty limiting, so the next thing I wanted to do was a double piston extender. So here is one version over here. Look at it. It's beautiful. Basically, this button powers these sets of back pistons, and then the breeze ball gets dispensed, and then it hits this lever like this. And then it stays on, and then on retraction, it also hits this button, which will activate the pistons and do the final retraction. just like that. So combining normal pistons with a double piston extender, the first breeze ball based door I made was the 4x4 vault door. Now, breeze ball door is kinda hard to say. There's a lot of consonant sounds and I don't really like it. So what's the best way to describe a door in which the jobs of activating all the levers is done by blowing them? The blowjob door. So if we look at the wiring for a bit, you can see over here we have the double piston extender from before, just slightly oriented a little differently, but we still have the button here, the lever, and the last button for the retraction. And then the rest is kind of just wiring that goes all around the door to activate these outer pistons. Okay, so double piston extenders may be able to take us to vault doors like this with 2 layers, but what if you still want to make a normal 3x3? Well, it'd probably be beneficial to have some 1-tick generators. That's right, we have a 1-tick generator over here. It is very small and it just uses 2 dispensers full of breeze balls. One is right up against this block and the other is kind of like 1 block away. So we get 2 ball collisions, but the collisions are just spaced out enough where it only gives a 1-tick pulse. So this lever kind of gets spammed like on and off very quickly, just like that. So now that we have double piston extenders and 1-tick pulses, the next step is obviously a 3x3 piston door. This is the 3x3 BJ door. Look at it. Look how beautiful it is. It is very complicated. I mean, I can try my best to explain it, but I don't expect any of you to understand. So the first part is the piston layout. This is the piston layout for the middle 3 blocks, and it goes a little something like this. So first, this double piston extender on the bottom extends like this, then it pushes there, and then it kind of stays here. So then we have this bottom block of the 3x3. Then the top part goes off, and we get a 1-tick pulse here. We kind of get like a button pulse on this piston, and then a second 1-tick pulse on this piston again. And there you go, we have the closing. God damn it, I can't avoid references to these. And then on the opening, we just do the double piston extension again, except this time it'll actually push the blocks up here. This piston retracts that block, this piston retracts this, and finally the double piston extender retracts back into the ground. So we can see that in the double when we push the button. As you can see, it pushed all the way up and then it retracted only once, leaving this bottom block. And then on the opening, you can see that it's gonna push all the blocks into the ceiling. And then again, to get the sticky piston to spit out its block, we have 2 1-tick generators because this thing has to fire twice. There is one more interesting property about these kinds of doors though. So if we just look at the closing one more time, as you can see, this piston actually stays extended, but there are no inputs on it. The reason is because we have this button over here and this button on top activating the 1-tick generator. So this activates it, and then this keeps the powered on because of quasi-conductivity, which means when this double piston extender pushes the block in front of this piston, it's going to be able to instantly retract without us even putting an input. So that means on the opening, we actually only need 1 1-tick pulse instead of 2 1-tick pulses. So we have this lever over here, which basically means that when it's on, which is when it's closed, it's going to power the top section. But when it opens, this lever will turn off, meaning the dispenser won't actually fire in the opening. So we can see that happening right here. As you can see, the lever turned off and this part of the door never got powered. If you want to see the lever logic more clearly, we have like a setup over here. The middle lamp will activate every time I push this button, and the side lamps will alternate. So right now the right lamp just went on, and now the left lamp will go on, and then again, the right lamp will go on. So that is how you can have like an on and off edge pulse kind of thing on a button input like this. So now what if we combined all of the knowledge of our double piston extenders, our 1-tick pulses, and our newfound lever logic? Well, we get the world's first 4x4 BJ door. And as you can see, this thing looks insane. It's like shattering into like lots of tiny pieces as it gets further. And yes, it does have to be this big. And another thing, it's pretty unreliable, so hopefully it works the first time I push it. So there we go, the door will close nicely like that, and is actually in sync, which is pretty rare. And let's see if it opens. There we go. And now the double piston extenders are gonna go off. And there you go, the 4x4 has opened. So I also went ahead and took this angle from the door just so you can see all the pistons and all the breeze balls hitting all the levers and buttons. Am I going to explain how this works? Probably not, since it is really complicated, but it does use that lever logic we just talked about to control the double piston extender on the opening and only power the back pistons on the closing. You guys also have no idea how many takes it took me to open this door, because the thing is, this is hella unreliable, especially this dispenser over here. This thing fires a breeze ball, sometimes it doesn't hit that platform and it just flies past. So yeah, that is the end of Crafty Masterman making yet another snapshot video and giving the latest component a really stupid name. Hopefully, like the other 2 times, it doesn't get nerfed into oblivion.